up. We're going to be starting off with how to improve things on your own website, which I know from my many years of talking to e-commerce business owners, it's always, I'm sure there's something wrong with the site, but what is it? And this next session is going to help you identify some really key things you can be improving. So our guest is Anne Thomas, who, a lady in e-commerce with the surname Thomas, how can you go wrong, quite frankly? I can see her laughing off screen there, so he's liking that. So over the last 12 years, Anne's worked as a web developer on a huge range of different projects. And 8 years ago, she immersed herself in the world of Shopify, which I'm sure we'll all agree is a terribly good choice. She last year launched Shop Critique to help merchants like you guys improve their Shopify sites via their audits that they do, and also via the honest feedback that they give. Because let's face it, when we want someone to critique our website, we want the honest truth, don't we? We don't want someone to just tell us what they think we want to hear. To enable all that, and constantly running performance tests and swatting up on the latest UX research. So I am really looking forward to skipping past doing all that research and learning the key things we need to know from Anne today. So let's get her up on screen with me now. Hello, Anne. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
It's very cool to have you here as well. Shall I let you get into this? Should we get your slides up and set you off? Right. It's all yours, Anne. Off you go.
Thank you. Oh, I'm excited. So what I'm going to be talking about today is really to share with everyone just the knowledge that we have found in doing many of these site audits. We only run them on Shopify, but a lot of the advice and things that we have found can be applicable to many different sites, whether you're on Magento or Shopify or BigCommerce or wherever you're running your e-commerce store. So I would say that this is really, and I'm coming at it from a developer perspective, but also, so there's going to be some SEO, best practices, also just, conversion rate optimization, just things that we see over and over and over. And so I just want to be able to tell people, hey, this is some, low-hanging fruit. If you haven't done these basic 10 things, if you have sort of are running into this, these are some things that are really definitely going to help right away. So let's get started. Okay, so first things first is text and images. And this we see a ton because, there are programs out there like Canva and, just simple Photoshop or Figma or Sketch or anything like that, where you have complete control and sort of dragging and dropping and moving things around, and you have that text embedded directly in the image. So it looks fantastic when you see it on your desktop view. The problem with this is that Google, while they are very, very smart, and they are working on this in terms of being able to read text embedded in images, they are not there yet. So what ends up happening is that you may have, a 50% off sale or incredible descriptions of all of your product features. If they're embedded directly into that image, a search engine isn't going to be able to pick up on that and isn't going to be able to index that in the search results. So that's definitely something to be aware of. Another thing that we commonly see, and this is very bad for conversions, is the text and images. When someone is looking at it on their desktop on a large screen, it looks fantastic. And then they may not look at it on mobile. And so when that image actually gets shrunk down to mobile, that text, that smaller text, maybe a subheading or pre-heading or what have you, it looked great on a large view, but as soon as you shrink it down to mobile, it is impossible to read. You cannot see what it says on a smaller device. So that's something that is very common. And also, a lot of times people aren't using alt text, which is terrible for screen readers. So alt text is alternative text, which is meant for people that can't have some sort of visual impairment, that are going to be using a screen reader to actually interact with your site. So if you're not using alt text and all of your text is in these images, then they're missing out on a huge chunk of information. So that would be the number one thing, or the first thing on the list of trouble spots that we've seen. So I'm going to pop over to the next one. All right. So this is becoming less and less common as people have, are using themes or templates that have filters built in, but we still see it. And that is having a very large inventory. It's great. You have lots of products that you're selling, but you have absolutely no filters. So instead, someone has to just scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and try to find what they're looking for. So especially if you're selling clothing and you don't have a way to narrow down by size, by the colors, whether there's reviews, these are all really excellent ways to help people discover what they're looking for. And if you don't have filters, and if people, they may know your brand and they may love it, but if they can't find what they're looking for, they're just going to leave and try to find it somewhere else. So definitely having filters, at the very, very least, have sorting. So filtering is where you're going to remove some of the products and just leave some behind. So for example, only show me, the color red. Sorting is where you're going to be actually sorting by, okay, show me the newest first, show me the best selling, show me, the price high to low. So when you have the ability to show what by recency and also by best selling, you are really targeting two different people, and they're very important people to target, which is people who are brand new to the site and are looking for, okay, what do people like that they've purchased here before, and those who have come to the site before and are looking for something that's brand new. I'd also recommend having that as like a collection of products as well. But again, coming back to large inventory, no filters is something that you definitely want to avoid. Okay. Again, this one, hopefully most people, I'm just going to adjust got a little sun happening there. Okay, there we go. I can see properly. So vague product description. Oh my gosh, product descriptions are difficult to write. They definitely are. You have to make sure that you're including all of the information about your product. Something to always remember when people are coming to the site, they have to know what they're actually buying. So make sure that you use bullet points. If you have huge sort of product, like a paragraph of just text, a block of text, very rarely people will sit there and read through that. So bullet points to easily scan. Always include your sizing info and the dimensions of the product. And don't repeat the same description on multiple products. It becomes really difficult for customers to wayfind around to different products if they are reading the exact same description that they just read on another page. So just definitely something to keep in mind, that you always want to make sure that you're putting as much information into the product description as possible, but also making it digestible by having bullet points and so on. This is, again, something that we see, and this is also very common, especially if you are using products maybe that you are reselling, or that you maybe don't have a photographer in-house or what have you. But there are ways that you can also manage how those photos are being sort of provided on the site. What I mean by that is that if you do have good quality images, sometimes what happens is that you may actually not be able to zoom in and see the detail of those images. So that's all well and fine if you have great high quality images, but as soon as you upload them and you have them on your site and there's no way to zoom in and actually see the detail of the product, then it's as good as just not having great photos to begin with. Pixelated images, you really want to avoid. Anything that looks grainy, that you can't see the actual product clearly. No way to see scale. What I mean by that is, let's say you have a backpack, for instance, and there's no picture of a person actually wearing that backpack in the photo. Or if you have a picture, if you have your product is a candle, for instance, but there's no, other than the dimensions, there's no way of knowing, okay, well, how big is this candle? Is it large? Is it tall? Is it going to fit in this certain way? So always making sure that you have both a combination of photos that have, just a plain background, and then also photos that have some sort of way of seeing scale. So whether that's with, a person in the photo, whether that's with, some other type of furniture, whatever the context is, make sure that you have some photos that provide that context. And that also goes along with the last point, which is having, a lot of people will just have those sort of very basic, no other detail type photos where it's on a gray or a white background, and there's no lifestyle or styled photos. It's similar to if you think about selling a house, for instance, where, if you have completely bare, empty rooms, a lot of people lack the imagination to think about, oh, this is what it would look like. Oh, I can imagine myself living there. In the same way, you want to make sure that the products that you're selling, you can really tell that story of how someone is going to be using those products in their regular life, and they can insert themselves and insert that product into their life already, that they have to have it. Okay, so this one is really specific for Shopify, but can apply in other places as well. So this comes down to your actual website, and this is the idea of no updates. Oh, okay, you've got your e-commerce site up and ready to go, and that's it. Once it's up there, you don't have to touch it again. You don't need to worry about making any code updates or anything like that. That is not the case. A website is never just set it and forget it. Even if you have been able to get away with, maybe using the same theme for many years, you're really missing out on updates that Shopify has made, new features that have rolled out, product media, being able to use videos in the product gallery. There's all sorts of new things that you could be using. And if you're not updating your actual site, then you're really missing out on that. The other thing that we often see is someone maybe getting a custom build, and again, losing contact with that developer and not knowing what's going on in the code. It has ramifications in the performance of your site as well. If you're finding it's very slow, if you've installed a bunch of third-party apps and you're not sure what it's doing with the code, it can be quite scary to sort of dive into the development. And not saying that you have to do that yourself, but make sure that in the same way you have someone on your team that is responsible for marketing or social media, make sure that you have at least a contact that knows what's happening in your site and then can update and help with performance. All right, so this one, hopefully no one is doing it, but I need to call it out anyway, because it is incredibly common, and that is ignoring mobile. For those of you that haven't looked at your Google Analytics in a while, I implore you, go take a look and see how much of your traffic is coming just from mobile devices. And I would estimate it's going to be a lot higher than you imagined it would be. Most people, the majority of traffic is actually coming from mobile devices as opposed to desktop. Now, of course, that does depend on, sometimes the product you're selling and your industry and that kind of thing. But it's a huge, huge issue with a lot of sites where they aren't as optimized for mobile as they could be, or people thinking, oh, it's good enough, or hiding information on mobile that they show on desktop. Mobile, it used to be common that people would say, oh, well, you don't have to worry about e-commerce on mobile because people aren't buying things on their phone. The actual transaction, they may look at something on their phone, but they're going to buy it on desktop. That is no longer the case. It is equally, if not more, important to have your site looking great on mobile, being able to have a seamless checkout flow, having a poor mobile experience. I've been to many sites where when you're clicking on things, the mobile menu doesn't work, the site can freeze, you need to refresh things. It's just not a good experience. So I actually recommend people go and purchase, not fully purchase, but add a product from their site to their cart. Go up to the sort of payment point and purchase in the checkout once a week, just to make sure that things are looking good, making sure that the swipe events are working. Put yourself in the place of a user that's coming to the site and quote unquote eat your own dog food and try the site yourself on your mobile device, borrow a friend's mobile device, just check it out and make sure that it's looking good on those smaller screen sizes. It is hugely, hugely important. And next we have no email list. This is a marketing conference. I'm sure this is not a surprise to anyone, but I do need to call it out. And that is making this mistake of only building your community on social media. So not leveraging the content and being able to collect emails directly on your e-commerce site. So, and that includes things like not offering, a good deal for people to sign up, not even having a sign up form, or only having it on the home page, making it really difficult for people to find. The flip side of this is the sort of email pop-ups that can sort of come up right away. I don't necessarily recommend those. You want to sort of give people a chance to warm up to you a bit before you're saying, okay, sign up right away. But at the same time, however you're getting those emails, that's the important piece of building that relationship with your customer, that you then have the ability to control when messaging goes out to them directly through a newsletter, through sales campaigns, et cetera, as opposed to being sort of at the whim of the social media algorithms. So definitely make sure, if you don't have an email list that you are actively building, make sure that that's something that you add directly to your website so that you can capture those emails. I would say as well, another mistake that we often see is people that they'll capture a bunch of emails, fantastic, and then they never email people ever. They're worried that, I don't want to be a bother and people are going to unsubscribe. But the reality is that, the people who are really engaged with your brand and want to support you and purchase items on your site, they can unsubscribe if they want, but you're still reminding them that you exist and that you're having a sale and that there are sort of things that they can, engage with. So that would be number 7. Number 8 is not having an about page, or almost as bad is having a super generic about page. Maybe you are a solo entrepreneur and you're running a small site, but you don't have an about page that reflects that. You're trying to pretend that you're this big company and that you have all these people. Honestly, the reality is that a lot of people want to know what makes you different and why they should buy a product from you versus someone else. So if you're not trying to connect, you really want to make sure that you have to find your niche, which is you're trying to connect directly with your customers. So another thing that we often see is that people don't really have their company values expressed on their about page or really across the rest of their site. So make sure that when you have your site, there is a sense of who you are and who is this brand, and that sort of general storytelling, and have a dedicated about page that's not just about, this random company. It has to specifically be about you and the history and why this product is amazing and all of those things. So making sure that you have an about page and link to it in the footer as well. Unless it's a huge portion of your brand, then you could have it in the header, but generally that's where people are going to look for it, is in the footer. And then we have number 9. So we're coming sort of to I have a couple more slides, but we're coming closer to the end here, which is ignoring shipping. So this is something that I like to think about. Okay, when we're doing a site audit, what are the things that people like? We really want to put ourselves in that mind frame of the customer. So to me, a customer has to understand what they are buying. So that's where the great product imagery, the product description comes in. So really, especially when you're buying something online, and in Toronto, all the shops are closed down. So you can't actually go in and check something out. So this is something brand new. So you have to be very, very clear about specifically what it is they're buying. What are they going to receive out of this transaction? Why do they need it? Sometimes that, why are they purchasing it? But the key thing here for number 9 is how will they get it? So is it going to take, 4 weeks to be delivered? Is it going to take 2 days? Could they potentially have a local pickup where, you have they're supporting local and they're shopping local so they can go in and pick it up in the store? All of those things are really, really important. They want to be able to make sure that they can get it quickly and easily. So if you have multiple options to allow people to purchase your product, why not? Like, show them all these options. Do you offer local delivery? Show that on your product page. Do you offer local pickup? Again, make that clear to the customer right away, as opposed to leaving it to, oh, we're in the checkout and, oh, hey, I didn't know I had that option for, local pickup. So definitely, the shipping factor is key. So sometimes this is something that we've also seen where people have incredibly fast shipping. I mean, they send products out in one day, or they make sure that their fulfillment is just phenomenal. Especially in times like this, it's really tricky to accomplish that. Yet there's no emphasis on the site on how incredible their shipping actually is. So while their customers that have purchased from them will experience, oh, this is fantastic, I love this, they're not actually using that as a selling point to get people to purchase. So really emphasizing that. Also, if you do offer returns, make that clear about, how do returns work? Is it easy to have returns? Does someone have to pay for the shipping label? Do you include the shipping label? If you do, that's a huge benefit. Also, having no details on free shipping. So we do a lot of user testing. So where we'll actually, talk to people and walk them through different sites and that kind of thing. And hands down, free shipping is, people just love it. It's someone will spend, whether if the shipping costs $20 and that extra item to get free shipping costs $30, they're going to pay the extra $30 as opposed to the 20 for the shipping, just because it's like, oh, well, I'm going to get this extra thing. And paying for shipping isn't something that people like to do, because it seems like you're getting nothing and you're paying for it. So if you do offer free shipping, make sure that you have clear information about where that threshold is that you're offering the free shipping, and let people know how far they are away from achieving the free shipping, to increase that average order value. I can't emphasize this enough. It's, shipping is huge, so don't ignore it. All right. And number 10, again, these aren't groundbreaking things. Hopefully most people are, using a lot of what I've already talked about in these sort of top 10. But I just want to emphasize that these are the things that we see over and over and over on hugely successful sites that they're not leveraging. So if these are things that you can spot in your own site, I think it's really important to make sure that, this is the thing that I find with audits, is that a lot of times we talk to people and they're driving all sorts of traffic to their site. And they're like, oh, it's not converting, I don't know why. And you really have to take that time to think, okay, what is the experience that someone's actually having on that site once they actually get there? There's all sorts of levers you can pull with SEO and performance and marketing and everything. There's all sorts of things that go into running a business, but you always want to make sure that you're hitting that baseline of just making sure that you have set things up correctly, and then you can kind of tweak from there. So if you've identified anything that you're doing in these sort of top 10, then tackle those and kind of go from there. So here's the other one, is the last one, which is no reviews. And this is also, or no reviews or hidden reviews. Sometimes people will have incredible reviews, but they might hide them under, a tab, or they only have reviews for a certain page, like it's for the entire product, or they might have incredible reviews on Google, but there's no actual indication of product reviews or anything like that on site. So keep in mind that everyone's journey is not always the same in terms of finding your product. They may find you they may come directly to your collection page, or they may come directly to a product page, or they may come to the home page. So you always want to make sure that you are emphasizing how fantastic your store and your service and your product is as much as possible wherever you can. So a lot of times as well, what people will do is, and we see this a lot with Shopify, is use the free review app that Shopify has, which is fantastic. It's good because it's free. However, one of the issues with it is that it doesn't actively reach out and ask people for reviews like some of the other apps can do. So make sure that you are actively asking your customers for feedback, to leave feedback. Because again, going back to that shipping or the about page, some of the danger of when you have a smaller site with e-commerce is that they're comparing it to big, large sites that clearly have they have large retail presence or they're very well known. So you have to really build up that trust factor for people where they know that, okay, if I order this product, which looks wonderful, I want to support this company, etc. You really want to make sure that they know that they'll receive it, that it's a great product, that other people have used it. Word of mouth is incredibly powerful. So always make sure that you're asking your customers not only for feedback on your product, but also reach out and ask them to leave reviews and ask them to engage with you in that way. Oh, another one for reviews I just thought of is also a really effective tool for reviews is making sure that you have allow people to upload images. So they can leave a review, a text review, but a picture is worth 1,000 words. So having a picture of them actually, using the product or what it looks like in their home, again, that actually helps you with that point that I made about product images, where you have an in-context version or an in-context example of that product that someone else has provided that you don't even have to provide, which is great. Okay, so let's do a bit of an overview to make sure that you haven't missed anything for these top 10. So text and images. Again, make sure that you are not embedding all of the text in an image. Does not usually scale well and can be not great for SEO. Large inventory, not providing any sort of filters that people can drill down and see. One thing that I didn't mention for the large inventory and no filters is making sure that you also have filters on your search results page. Again, this is very common with Shopify, where you may have really great filters that are available on your collection pages, but you may not actually have them on the search pages as well. So make sure they're in both spots so that you're really allowing people to find what they're looking for. Vague product description. This is, this is the basic stuff here. But again, so many times we see people over and over that aren't providing enough information in their product description. So make sure that you have the dimensions, the fabric. A good customization is having, again, going back to picture is worth 1,000 words. Little icons are really fantastic to show. People can quickly scan. So don't be vague in your product description. Lots of information is good. Just put it in bullet points so that it's easy to scan. Bad photos. There are tons and tons of different tutorials out there on how to take good product photos. Highly recommend checking them out. And no updates, ignoring mobile, no email list, no about page, ignoring shipping, and no reviews. Yeah, those are really the high level points there.
I'd say. Yeah. And I'm loving that list. And I want to get every last bit out of you, but we do need to get things wrapped up. So,
sure.
Would you like to let everybody know how they can get hold of you if they want to follow up and find some more of this great insight?
Yes, definitely. I'll pop through. This is just about why you can check site audit. Let's just say it's important. And then, so here is the information. If anyone wants to check out shopcritique.com, and I'm at info@shopcritique.com.
Marvelous. Thank you. And like I said, I thought that was absolutely brilliant. And I love the fact you included in there number 8, which is one of my personal bugbears. They say like a fairy dies every time something happens. I'm not up to speed on my Disney. But I feel the same way every time I come across a bad About Us page.
Yeah, there's so many out there. Oh, It's bad.
It's such a missed opportunity, especially now as a result of everything we've had going on in the world for the last year. Consumers want that emotional connection. They want to know the story. They want to know about you and your team. And it's so I was personally very, very pleased you included that one. But thank you very much for being part of the event today. It's been great learning from you. So thanks, Anne.
Thank you, Chloe.
Okay, well, just before we bring the marvelous Julia on from Gorgeous, I just wanted to do a shout out to a couple of you because you guys have been pretty busy in the comments, especially over on YouTube. It's almost like there's a party going on over there. So I wanted to say hello to Sarah, who, like me, is tuning in from the UK. It's just started to get dark down here in Cornwall. So for the rest of you, actually, we have Martin as well. He's here from the UK. So hi, Martin. Lovely. I know Martin. So hi, Martin. Really lovely of you to tune in as well. Hope you're enjoying this. And going even further away from the US, we've got, I'm not quite sure who that is, but we've got people tuning in from Romania, which is very cool. So if you're tuning in from anywhere else around the world, do put it in the comments, whichever of our platforms you're listening on, because we would love to know how far we are spreading around the globe today and bringing it back to the home of e-commerce tech in the USA. I should say hello to Mark as well, who was our first US audience member to speak up, which is intriguing because usually, I have to say, usually you guys in the US, you're a lot better at putting yourselves forward than us backwards people in the Europe are. So I'm quite surprised Europe's ahead of the US at the moment. So please do keep bringing these comments in. And hello to Jeff from Canada, who's just come in, and Martin, glad you're enjoying the show.